Does the projection theory exist? Is what we see a reflection of the other? To dedicate yourself to understanding the principles of this video from beginning to end, it is crucial to maintain an open mind, as information will be shared that may touch upon deep emotions and feelings. We invite you to stay with us until the end and prepare to be surprised. Overcoming the psychological barriers that inhabit our minds, such as denial or disbelief in the face of concepts that challenge the way we perceive ourselves, can be challenging. However, this willingness to understand and accept complex psychological concepts, such as the notion of projection proposed by Freud, which consists of attributing to others characteristics or emotions that are actually ours, is essential. Freud highlighted the difficulty of accepting this reality, as facing aspects of ourselves reflected in others can be an uncomfortable process. The theory of projection teaches us that we often see in others a reflection of ourselves, as if we were looking at our own image reflected in someone's pupil. This phenomenon suggests that, to truly understand another person, we need to expand our perception beyond our own personal issues. Every day, we tend to cling to characteristics of others that, in fact, reside within us, whether out of admiration or repulsion for certain traits or behaviors. When another person's behavior provokes an intense emotional reaction in us, such as deep irritation or aversion, this can be an indicator of projection. Recognizing this possibility is the first step toward deeper self-knowledge and requires a stance of humility. True humility involves the ability to know oneself genuinely, recognizing and accepting our own characteristics reflected in others. In this context, it is vital to practice reflection on the behaviors of others that cause us significant discomfort, seeking to understand how similar characteristics manifest in us, even if in different ways. This exercise of introspection encourages us to accept aspects of ourselves that may be being denied or repressed. Moreover, the practice of self-analysis is not limited to only the aspects perceived negatively in others. The positive qualities we admire in those around us also reflect the good within us. Identifying and valuing what is positive in others, and consequently in ourselves, is generally a more pleasant and easier experience to accept, unlike the challenge of confronting the shadows we project onto others. In projective identification, we also project onto external objects what we cannot accept within ourselves, but then we introject both back, this material in a modified or distorted manner. Projective identification can occur in various ways and have beneficial or deleterious effects on our interpersonal relationships, as the recipient of the projected material may identify with it and begin to behave accordingly. Let's look at a negative example. Imagine that a child is treated by others as if they were stupid. Perhaps no one directly calls them stupid, but some project their own difficulties onto the child and behave as if the child were incapable. The child may indeed begin to behave as incompetent, completely losing interest in studies, for believing they are not capable of learning. Note that in projective identification, there is a tendency to modify the person who receives the projection. Realizing that we are the mirror of the other is an essential key to personal growth, stimulating a deeper analysis of our reactions and emotions towards others. In projective identification, unlike what happens in simple projection, the individual who receives the projection becomes the repository of that material that could not be digested by the one who projected it. But not always this is bad. In certain situations, projective identification can have a positive outcome. For example, sometimes a person who is going through conflicts that they cannot handle may unconsciously project this material onto someone they consider more capable of dealing with it, such as a family therapist or even a good friend. The person who unconsciously received this material begins to work on it and digest it, to then return the digested material back to the one who projected it. This process can occur in a totally conscious or partially conscious manner. When projections happen and the person can deal with the other without so many projections of what they would like them to be, they are dealing with the other with the reality of what they really are. At the beginning, many differences are found from what was idealized and projected. However, projection can also happen with bad feelings. For example, someone might say that the other is angry when, in fact, the angry person is themselves. One can blame another person for a feeling when, in reality, the one feeling it is the person in question. It is common not to be able to get in touch with the guilt for having felt pain, or with the guilt for having done something, so one projects this guilt onto the other, holding them responsible for something the person did and for which they feel guilty. All of this occurs unconsciously, without the person being aware that they are blaming the other for something they themselves did. Projection is an important defense mechanism, functioning as a mirror that reflects what the person does not recognize, but which are their own contents. Through self-knowledge, it is possible to understand defense mechanisms and the projection process, distinguishing what is one's own content and what is from the other. It is important to be aware of intense feelings towards people, as this often may indicate that one is dealing with projections. Be aware that feelings are always intense in projection, whether of love, anger, or hatred. This recognition not only fosters authenticity and a more intimate connection with people, but also drives us to overcome denials and confront truths about ourselves, however uncomfortable they may be. Understanding this dynamic can facilitate our path to self-knowledge and the development of more authentic and meaningful relationships. Expanding this understanding beyond the recognition of negative projections and realizing how positive projections also shape our interactions with others allows us to cultivate a more balanced view of ourselves and others. By embracing both the lights and the shadows projected in our relationships, we open up space for more comprehensive personal development and for deeper, more enriching relationships. Furthermore, by consciously applying knowledge about projection in our lives, we become more capable of resolving internal and external conflicts in a more constructive manner. Recognizing that what bothers us in another may be a reflection of an unresolved issue in ourselves, we open up the possibility of healing and internal reconciliation, which in turn positively impacts our interpersonal relationships. We encourage you to practice observation and reflection on the projections in your life, both positive and negative. Share in the comments your experiences with the theory of projection and how it has impacted your journey of self-knowledge. Follow our channel for more insights on topics like this and others that can transform your life. If this video brought you valuable insights, please leave your like as a way of thanks, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us for the next video.